Hey all you Minties, this is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an overview of the Legend of Zelda, the Legendary Edition box set from Viz Media, so please stay tuned. And welcome back everybody. Now, a big disclaimer. When I got to announce that this box set was coming out, whenever I do my upcoming collected editions every month, I had no idea that this had a little music box in it, or it was supposed to be a music box. I just bought it because it looks like a treasure chest from the Legend of Zelda and it has manga in it. So yeah, I had no idea about that. So I was like, awesome, it's an extra bonus prize. So we'll get there. But before we do, this comes, by the way, this box set comes sealed in a plastic wrapping, and then in the back here is the content of what is included in here, including a poster. And here is the bottom of the treasure chest, and that's where you'll find the retail price. So this little pamphlet, this little sheet comes off, it's just stuck to it. Actually, let's go ahead and remove it. Just stuck to it with this little goop right there. So there you go. Now it looks like a real treasure chest, or a real glossy treasure chest rather. Now, moment of truth. So disclaimer, I went ahead and opened it because I got excited when I found out that it plays the theme when you're opening up a treasure chest in the games. So that's what I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's an awesome bonus. And it's kind of a pain, actually. At least my copy is. Yeah, to push that button in there. Guess you have to have strong thumbs. And as you could probably tell, no theme playing. And I went ahead and looked online, and apparently a lot of people have had issues with this. Either the battery's dead or dying, and there is no way to replace the battery because sadly it is soldered onto a board. So yeah, no music, no theme when you open it up. Wanted to give you another angle so you can take a closer look at this box. It's all cardboard, right? I mean, so it's nice. I remember the limited edition chest that comes with the strategy guide, so it's very similar to that. But let's look in here and see what these things are about. But before we do, this comes with an exclusive poster. And there is the exclusive poster that comes inside of the Legendary set. So let's kick this overview right and talk about the very first book that came out, and that is the Ocarina of Time. Now, before I even open this book up, I wanted to mention that this has been previously collected in a smaller tankobon size, and right here, as well as the entire box set has been previously collected in a smaller box set. This one here came out a few years ago. Of course, this one retails for $79.95, and this one is $125. That is the retail price. And pretty much all 10 of these books are collected within these 5 hardcovers. So these are all soft covers, these are hardcovers. We'll do a little comparison here in a second. So it's pretty much 2 in 1 is what we're looking at. So this is where it all began. This is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is a hardback, and here is the bookend pages. It's the Triforce, and there is a picture of Link, Ocarina of Time, Legendary Edition, story and art by Akira Himekawa. And we're going to talk about the creators here in a second. That's right, creators. And then there is the table of contents. I find this interesting because I figured Ocarina of Time would be here and Hero of Time would be here, because we are reading from left to right in traditional Japanese, but for some reason they printed the contents here of Ocarina and then Hero of Time. We have color pages to start off with. And these Legendary Editions have been previously released in single volumes, but I believe they were trade paperback. They've never released them in hardcover edition. So this is the best format to get them in. So it looks like we've got about 12 to 15 pages of color. And then we move on to the color pages. The other thing I was going to say is that this is a glossy paper. And then we move into this thick matte paper right here. The traditional manga style. All of it reading, of course, right to left. The translations have been translated within the panel. For the sound effects, and there is cute Link. If you've never played The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, it's one of the greatest games, probably my second favorite. I really have a soft spot in my heart for Link's Awakening. I don't know why. So this is pretty much just a retelling of that story, but adding so much more to it because this came out in 1999, right? So the reason I said let's go where it all starts, everybody knows that this is probably the 4th game in the Legend of Zelda, right? Like, because you've had Legend of Zelda, actually the 5th game. You have Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Link's Adventure, then you had A Link to the Past, and then you had the Game Boy Adventure, my favorite, Link's Awakening. And then you had Ocarina of Time. But this is the very first manga that the creators decided to do. So let's do something really quick. I want to do a quick size comparison. So here's the original release, and then this is the legendary. Of course, from the box set being hardcover. Right off the bat, there is no colored pages in the original release. So all of this is in black and white compared to the color of the legendary editions. And even the sound effects look different. For example, that's this flash and this is whoosh, whoosh. Can't believe I just said that on the air. But the other thing I wanted to do, let's go here where the non-colored pages are. Just really quickly look at the differences. The paper quality on this is a lot better. It's a lot thicker than the paper quality on this manga. Again, though, you're paying $9.99 per tankobon here, or included in that box set. And these are a little more expensive, deluxe editionary, if that's even a word. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to mainly just look at the differences in the art. So it's a little bit bigger. I mean, it's not huge or anything, but it is bigger. And this particular volume has 378 pages. But like I mentioned, this is the one where it all began for the creators. This is the very first manga adaptation that they did, and this would prove that they were in it for the long haul. Let's look in the back here. There's bonus pages in the back, bonus stories, and then there's a nice afterword from the creators. And I keep saying creators, but you just see one name, Akira Himekawa. Okay. We'll talk about them as I talk about the second book in this box set. This is Oracle of Season and Oracle of Ages. Both of these were Game Boy Color games. And this is the adaptation. Again, we started with these glossy colored pages. And then we move on to the traditional black and white. So Akira Himekawa is just the pen name for a duo of female Japanese comic book artists. They're 2 mangaka, and they have been working together for so many years. And the only thing I know them from is this, and I think they did a, was it a Star Wars book together? I believe Marvel brought it over. No, Dark Horse. It was Dark Horse that brought over the Star Wars manga. They worked on that. But those are the only things I know them from, because they have been working on this since 1999. I mean, that is a long time to be working on the same characters. But if you know anything about The Legend of Zelda, you know that each of the story is different. You don't have to have read the Ocarina of Time manga to understand the story of Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. And yes, there are similar characters all the time. There's Zelda, of course, Link, and then other characters that show up. I don't want to ruin anything, but there's some nice little Easter eggs in the manga, especially how they try to make all these worlds almost connect. But this is the Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. And it's a little bit different because I love these games. These were, I think, were produced by Capcom, and the stories are different. Like, there's characters that appear in the pages of Seasons that don't appear in the pages of Ages that should have, if that makes sense. So what I'm getting at is, even if you're familiar with the video games, you have played them over and over again, this is a nice retelling that adds and changes a lot of things. And there's even a little bonus story in the back here that has never appeared in the original little tankobons. So the first time you saw it was in the Legendary Edition. This book right here has 406 pages. And here we have The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask and A Link to the Past. And I haven't been showing the back of these. These are really nice and well put together. And we'll look at the binding here in a little bit. What's interesting about this particular volume, though, is that Majora's Mask was volume 3 of the tankobon, and then A Link to the Past was actually volume 9. So it's interesting that both of these were put together for, I guess this would be volume 3 of the hardcovers. So here it is. Again, kicking off Majora's Mask with the colored pages, previously not in the original tankobon. Just a quick little side-by-side comparison of both pages. And Majora's Mask, which is pretty much a direct follow-up to Ocarina of Time, is one of these really like hidden gems. A lot of people don't like it, a lot of people love it. There's this whole debate on whether how good it is, whether it's really part of Ocarina of Time or not. I don't even know how that's a debate. My wife watches a lot of these YouTube videos that talk about these theories. They get kind of ridiculous. I didn't even know there was a haunted Ocarina of Time cartridge. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so yes, this is Majora's Mask, which takes place in the world of Ocarina of Time. And then we get probably regarded as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Legend of Zelda game, A Link to the Past. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen A Link to the Past adapted over into a manga. We've had the Nintendo Power magazine. They did well, it was the original Japanese release when it came out, but they did a manga on it, and it's interesting to see how their artwork is a little bit different from this, right, to the way that Link looks. It looks a little more retro, so I like that about their art. And I don't know if they're interchanging artists like Clamp, right? You never know who's drawing them. But this book right here has 402 pages. One of the things you'll find towards the end of each of the books, and being that this is a 2-in-1, you'll see the sketches for the characters at the very end. I don't think there's any spoilers in here. And then this is an interview here about Majora's Mask. And then a message about the Legendary Edition from the authors. Next up is The Legend of Zelda, Minish Cap, and the Phantom Hourglass. Two games that came out on the Nintendo... Was it the Nintendo DS? Yeah, no, Game Boy Advance, and then the other one was on the DS. But Minish Cap was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this game. And I must have played this one a lot because right off the bat, I'll notice that Link's adventure really deviates from the game. Like in Phantom Hourglass, like you get more of a backstory to the ghost ship, and then there's this whole thing about all these worthless tasks that you have to do that you do within the game. But even in Minish Cap, you notice several differences that kind of just stray him away from the adventure that you know you're supposed to follow in the video game. So that's what I like about these stories. They're not boring, I guess, right? It's not just the shot-for-shot adaptation. That wouldn't be any fun. I guess I'm used to the like comic book adaptations of movies, right? And they add a little bit here and there. But no, so this completely changes a lot of the characters sometimes, and then a lot of the settings, and takes you new places, and even some of the endings are a little bit different. Now, one of the things I'll talk about here is their current work and what's not collected in this Treasury box set, or treasure chest edition, if you will. Now, this particular book has 374 pages. It's not the smallest. The next one actually is the smallest. Not that that is really small. That's a lot of pages for this little guy, Link. And as I'm flipping through here looking at the artwork, because, you know, this has the cartoony artwork from Wind Waker, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, did they ever do a Wind Waker manga? If they did, it's not collected in here, but I don't think they did. I know currently, here, let's look at the back and then we'll talk about what they're currently working on. And here's some of the character illustrations. And then a visit to Akira Himekawa's Sensei Studios. So here are the two ladies that make up the Akira Himekawa name. Awesome. I'm glad we got pictures of them. I don't think I've ever seen pictures of Clamp. And Link over the years. And this is the book I was going to talk about here when we look at the last hardcover. Last but certainly not least is The Legend of Zelda Four Swords. Now, this was originally collected in two of the trades, or two tankobons. But here it is. Here's all the chapters. And, of course, starting it off with the colored pages. This game blew up. This game first appeared on the GameCube, and then it kind of became its own thing because it was multiplayer. And this was so cute. I love the art in this. And one of the things I was going to say is the thing that I enjoy about the duo that work on these manga is the fact that they're able to adapt their art and kind of mimic the art style of whatever the video game is, right? Because this is a lot different than, for example, what they're working on now. And that is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So I believe there's 8 volumes. Look at that. That is so different, so badass. There's 8 volumes of these available so far, or maybe just 7. I can't remember if 8 is out yet or not. But this has not been collected. It's not collected in the hardcover format. It's not collected in the legendary format. It's just available like this. So who knows if we'll get a treasures box set of those, but that would be really cool. Maybe if they work on something like I was just talking about, Wind Waker, that would be awesome. Or the PC game. Nope. Never mind. That's not even that funny. Sorry. This one here is the smallest one, though. This one has 370 pages. Let's look here in the back and talk about the binding. Here's some extra little bonus stories. And then, of course, the interviews and what they're working on, which is, of course, Twilight Princess. Cover galleries. Which, that's pretty interesting that they have a black and white cover gallery, even though you get the color version here. Maybe it's in case you don't have the other books. Now, let's talk about this binding. So the books are sewn binding, every single one of these. And I don't own the original legendary editions, but I've heard horror stories about how the pages just fell apart. And I think that's because you're talking about glued binding on a soft cover. This is a hardcover, and look, I mean, you have the inner spine flexing, so that's good. So I think these are better built. And that, as they say, is that. And you can purchase this box set from our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for US customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and the page count of each of the deluxe editions in this box set. Let me know in the comments down below if you are picking it up, if you've already bought it, if you have the original tankobons, if you have the original box set, if you're upgrading, if you're getting the new Twilight Princess manga. I would love to know all those comments down below. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We can be found on Patreon and Redbubble. Those are amazing ways to support the channel, and all of that information is in the description down below. More importantly, please everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.